Okay, good morning, everybody, and Hazak Baruch Chodesh Tov to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday morning as we are studying together Perashat Terumah. Our Perashat deals with the donations, the contributions that the Jewish people made towards the building of the Mishkan, which was the temporary, movable, portable tabernacle. Okay, the movable Beit HaMikdash that we had throughout our journey in the desert and for our beginning years in Eretz Yisrael. And right in the beginning, we mentioned yesterday, the pasuk says, "Ve'asu li mikdash ve'shachanti betocham." God says, "Make for me a temple so that I could dwell in them." And yesterday we noted that the word betocham is incorrect. It should have said betocho. Make a temple so that I could dwell in it. What does it mean to dwell in them? The idea that we said, a beautiful idea, that's something that we need to all take to heart. The Shlach HaKadosh says, the goal is not that God should reside in a building. He doesn't need to reside in buildings. The goal is that God should reside betocham, in us. The goal is that we should build a Mishkan so that Hashem could dwell in every single one of us by making ourselves into a vessel that God is ready to dwell in. Okay, and really, our goal is to study these perashiyot, to study the Mishkan, to study the vessels in the Mishkan, and to learn from the vessels how we can prepare ourselves and build ourselves into be something that Hashem would be happy and comfortable dwelling in. If God were to come down right now, would He feel comfortable staying in your home? Would He feel comfortable staying in our minds? Would He feel comfortable staying in our bodies? Are our bodies clean? Are our hands, our mouths, how we talk, what we're looking at, what we eat, what we're listening to? Would God be something? Would God be happy to dwell in our bodies? Would He feel comfortable staying there? And the goal is Veshachanti betocham. And that's what we're going to study today as well. Yesterday we spoke a little bit about the dimensions and the half dimensions, and we spoke about the beautiful lesson that we learned that when it comes to spirituality, a person must always feel like they're halfway there. That's why the Aaron's dimensions were half, 2.5 by 1.5. When it comes to the Aaron, to the Torah, we have to always feel like we're only halfway there, right? We're halfway there, right? We're only halfway there. That's when it comes to Torah. I have so much more to learn. We should always feel like we're a student, a Talmid Chacham. That's why, by the way, the Gemara begins on what page? Daf Bet. The second page. There's no page 1. It's in a way a person remembering, I don't even know the first page. A person should always have that beautiful mentality. The Torah itself begins with the letter what? Bet, Bereshit. Again, Aleph I don't know. I don't know the beginning. I don't know anything. Person always has to feel like they're lacking, like there's more to learn, more to grow. So that's the half. But when it comes to physicality, to gashmiyut, to material possessions, we should always feel like we are complete. We should always feel like I have everything that I need. And yesterday we spoke extensively about these ideas, and a person constantly feeling like they have whatever they need when it comes to physical, and when it comes to spiritual, like we are lacking. And take a look at what the pasuk says towards the end of the opening paragraph. It says, chapter 25, pasuk 8 and 9, Ve'asu li mikdash ve'shachanti betocham. Make a mishkan so that I could dwell in them, like we just explained. And now watch this is beautiful. Kechol asher ani mareh otecha. Like everything that I show you. Et tavnit ha-mishkan ve'et tavnit kol kelav. God says to Moshe, make everything the way I showed it to you. The form of the Mishkan, the form of its vessels. And look at the last two words. Vechen ta'asu. And so shall you do. And so shall you do. And what is being added with these two words? And so shall you do. You already told me to do what I'm going to be shown. And so shall you do. But according to the Shla, we have a very beautiful answer. Vechen ta'asu is telling us that not only should you make the Mishkan like that, Vechen ta'asu, make yourselves like the Mishkan. Vechen ta'asu, and as well, make sure you do all of this to yourself, to make ourselves into a sanctuary for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So here is our job this week. We read about the vessels, we read about the Aron and the Shulchan and the Menorah, and it looks like they're irrelevant. We don't have one today, unfortunately. There's no point of studying these parashiyot. They're obsolete. They don't apply to me. Not true. We study about the vessels of the Mishkan, and we apply them to our personal lives. We learn how to be ourselves a Mishkan. Okay? So here we are today, continuing in our very important work and our avodah of learning. What lessons can we learn from the Mishkan and from the vessel? So here we go. Let's learn another lesson today. And the opening pasuk, Ve'yikhuli terumah. I want you to open up Rashi if you have one. I'm doing so as well on my computer. Okay? And look at what Rashi wants to say. Daber b'nei Yisrael ve'yikhuli terumah. Speak to the Jewish people and let them take for me a donation. What does Rashi say? Opening Rashi. Li, you know what it means, li? Let them take it. Lishmi. For my sake. For my name. And on a simple level, what Rashi is saying is that the donations that we make must be L'Shem Shamayim. A lot of times people give money, but they do it because they're looking to receive honor. They're doing it because they want to receive kavod. Right? They give a lot of money, but they make sure that everyone in the shul hears the amount that they pledged. Shemit Nadev, 10,000 to the Beit HaKnesset. Everyone heard? 10,000? You heard me, right? A lot of times we give loud and clear for everybody to hear. And we're giving and it's good, but it's lacking because we're not really giving because we're doing it altruistically. We're giving for our honor. We're giving for our prestige. We're giving because we are the ones receiving all the Hazak Baruchs that people are going to give us. We give money, and now our name goes up on a wall. We have our name on the building. We have our name front and center. The blank hole, right? Is it good? It's good. It's not the best. The best is to be baseter, to be low-key, to be hidden. By the way, many people that I know, many people that I'm sure you know, that when they do tzedakah, they don't want anyone to know. Rabbi, I'll give you people that I know, and you know who you are. Rabbi, I'll help, but please don't mention anything. Don't say. Don't share. Don't spread. I don't want credit. I don't want people to know it's me. I want to help. I just want to help. That's an amazing midah of humility. Now it's important to also remember though, that sometimes it's important to do out loud. Okay, we always have to balance. So there are times that it's actually required to be public about our tzedakah. So as an example, if a person is giving tzedakah but the kids don't know about it, so you're not teaching your kids about tzedakah. If your kids don't know how much you're giving, so is that a good thing or a bad thing? On the one hand, you could say it's a good thing because my kids, I'm even hiding it from them. That's how humble I am. It's true, but then you're never teaching your kids how important tzedakah is. You need to be a role model. So there's the other side of the coin, the opposite. I should show them how much I'm giving. This way they learn. Because when they take over one day, they have to learn how to give like me. So we have to sometimes not be so secretive about our charity. But that's one way of explaining what does it mean, lishmi, for my name. We should give purely for God's sake, not for any other sake. But there's a beautiful idea. I want you to pay attention, please. And I want you to actually write this down. It's going to change the way that you live. What I'm about to share with you. We know that Hashem's name, there's a way that it's written, but we're not allowed to pronounce it that way. Right? That's the name of Yud, K, Vav, K. Yud, and then Hey, and then Vav, and then Hey, okay? So I'm going to write it, but I'm going to write it with a dash in between each letter, because I don't want to write Hashem's name on a piece of paper, because then I can't throw it out, okay? So we know that that's Hashem's name. Yes? Now, we don't pronounce it like that. It's asur to pronounce it like that. It's only allowed to be pronounced Yud, K, Vav, K, when we have the Beit HaMikdash. In the temple, was allowed to be pronounced. So the pasuk is saying, God says, Ve'asu li mikdash. I want you to build a mikdash. Build a temple, because once it's up, now lishmi, now my name can be pronounced. Now we can actually say it in the temple, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Now again, today we don't have it. So today, how do we pronounce it? Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yud. Right? Which is master. That's how we pronounce Amonai. Right? We pronounce it with the Daled, Amonai. Okay? But God's name is Yud Kei Vav Kei. And listen to what the Kabbalists say. The Kabbalists say that this name of God, anyone know which attribute of God is this name? Yud Kei Vav Kei is God's name of mercy. When we speak of Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's nice, that's merciful. When we speak of Elokim, that's God as judge, that's strict, that's tough, that's fair. But we don't want fair, we want Yud Kei Vav Kei. And look what the Kabbalists say, it's beautiful, watch this, very important. I saw this first in the Ben Ish Chai, and then it's even earlier sources than him. But really, the word Yud Kei Vav Kei symbolizes how God himself does tzedakah. God, when he gives us beracha, it's represented by this name. Why? Because every act of charity, just imagine when you give the ani, when you give the poor person. First, there's the coin that you're holding with your hand. So you take a coin with your 5 fingers, and then the ani sticks out his hand, and you place the coin in the hand of the ani. Yes, so far so good? We didn't say anything crazy so far. Okay, so every act of charity has 2 steps. We take the coin out, and then the ani sticks out their hand, and they take it. And every time we receive from Hashem, we receive life, we receive blessing, we receive parnasa, our ideas, our business, our what we're trying to accomplish, they take off, they're successful. So we're asking always Hashem. We say, Poteach et yadecha. God, please open your hands and give us. So God is in a way giving, and we're the ones receiving. So every relationship that we have with Hashem, He's the rich man and we're the poor person, right? What's beautiful is that the Yud, in the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, God's name really are the 4 steps that we discussed. The Yud is a small coin. That's the money that we give. That's the coin. Hey is what number? Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled. Hey, 5. That's the 5 fingers of a person's hand. So you take the coin, which is the Yud, and then you have the Hey, which is the hand. So here is, in these first 2 letters, Yud Kei is God's hand, so to speak, and the coin, the tzedakah that he's holding, the Yud, and then the Hey. And then you have the Vav. The Vav corresponds to the outstretched arm of the poor person. That's the Vav, the arm. And then Hey is the 5 fingers. The last Hey is the 5 fingers of the poor person receiving the charity. So Yud, Hey, coin, hand, Vav, Hey. Beautiful. So every act of charity is really symbolized by Yud Kei Vav Kei. And really, whenever you say Hashem's name, you should really have in mind, you should meditate on these ideas. When we say Yud Kei Vav Kei, we're having in mind that Hashem is giving us beracha and we're receiving beracha. All of a sudden, by the way, saying God's name is no longer 0.2 seconds long. Now when you say Hashem's name, it takes 2 seconds, 3 seconds. That's why the big tzaddikim, they would never say Baruch Baro. They would never say bracha like that. Baruch Ata Amonai, and then meditating on Hashem's name slowly. And that's just one, this is just one thought to have when saying God's name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. There's dozens and dozens, and that we're not going to go into right now. But just for starters, just to again appreciate the depth of God's name and the letters of the Aleph Bet. Yud, the coin. Hey, our hand. Vav, the hand of the poor guy. And then Hey, Vav, the arm of the poor guy. And then Hey, the hand of the poor guy. Now watch this. If that's the case, the order is very important. The Yud and then the Hey. First is us reaching out to the poor person, and then the poor person reaching out. But if, God forbid, a person is lax in tzedakah, sometimes we're sitting in our comfortable homes and we wait for the poor person to reach out and to stick out their hand. So now, chas v'shalom, now the order of God's name is going to be backwards. Instead of Yud Kei Vav Kei, it's going to be backwards. Vav Hey, and then Yud, and then Hey. That's not Hashem's name. And so the Torah here in this one word is teaching us that when we're giving tzedakah, we have to be active. We have to look for opportunities to give. A lot of times we say, okay, when the rabbi calls, when the ani calls, when the organization calls, I'll give them. That's not the right way to give, because then you're doing Vav Hey and then Yud Hey. That's not Hashem's name. Hashem's name is first Yud Hey. We have to actively look for the people to give to. We have to make the phone calls to the organizations. We have to make the phone calls like someone on this chat, someone on this Zoom right now. They called me one time. They said, Rabbi, I want to help a family with a special needs child. I want to help the parents, give them a break. I want to put him up in a hotel for a night in the city and give him just a restaurant and a good time. I know how difficult it could be to have a child like that. I want to find me someone. So this is an example of a person who's actively initiating Yud Hey. They're first sticking their hand out. Please, I want to help. That's a beautiful way to give tzedakah. And then the Vav Hey. By the way, we even know that the letters of the Aleph Bet themselves have tremendous depth. So Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Gemara and Shabbat goes through all the letters of the Aleph Bet. Gemara and Shabbat goes through every letter. Aleph, what does it mean? Why does it look like this? Bet, why does it look like that? Gimal. So I want to jump today to the third and fourth letters. Gimal, Dalet. What does Gimal, Dalet mean? It means something. It's not just, in English, A, B, C. They don't mean anything. A, B, C. But in Hebrew, Gimal means something. What does Gimal mean? Gimal means from the word Gemilut. Gimal, Gemilut Chasadim. To do kindness. The letter Gimal represents the rich man doing tzedakah. Gimal. And then you have the recipient is the next letter, the Dalet. What is Dal in Hebrew? Anyone know? Dal is a poor man. Right? Dalim. We refer to ourselves. Kedalim Banu. We say to God, we came to you like a poor man begging for help. So Gimal is giving. Dalet is the poor guy receiving. And look at, this is unbelievable. Look at the letters. I want you to draw or imagine the letter Gimal. Our rabbis tell us that the letter Gimal even looks like somebody who's running. He has his foot forward. He's running to go do. And what's the next letter? Dalet is the poor guy. But look how the poor guy is situated. The poor guy is facing the other way. The poor guy is looking away because it's very hard to receive tzedakah. It's very uncomfortable. Even sometimes when I myself have to call people, someone asks me to reach out for them, the very tight situation, and I'm calling not for myself. Sometimes I'm calling for somebody else. I'm not even the one receiving. I'm just the middle guy. It's very uncomfortable. You call and then you hang up, and you call and you hang up. The Panovich Rav himself, he used to collect for his yeshiva, and every time he would go by a house, when Rabbi Beryl Wine drove him, Rabbi Beryl Wine testifies that every time they would stop by another house, before the Panovich Rav would get out of the house, he would close his eyes and he would say, I hope nobody is home. Very uncomfortable to go receive tzedakah. Even if it's not for you. Kal vachomer. How much more so when it is for you. And therefore, the Dalet is facing away. If we're giving tzedakah, if we want to give the right way, we have to make sure that we're saving them any embarrassment possible. We have to make sure we're running after them. We have to make sure that we're not making them feel hazit for taking tzedakah. We have to give it to them in a dignified way. That's why a lot of times there's levels of tzedakah. If you give someone money face to face, that's a low level. If you give someone not face to face, if you give it secretively in an envelope, you put it by their door, they don't know you and you didn't see them, that's a higher level. Because now you're saving them embarrassment. But really, the best thing is to give somebody, not tzedakah, but a job. Because that you preserve their dignity. So if you could find somebody that you know needs something, even if they're not qualified for a job, but make up a job. Make believe they need something. Make believe you need help. Hey, could you do me a favor? Could you shovel my snow? And then give them $500 for it. So they feel like I'm getting paid for services that I performed. So we're sparing them from the embarrassment of having to receive tzedakah. So that's the highest level. But ultimately, the point, just going back for a minute, is to remember that our job is to not wait for them to come and knock on our doors. That's very uncomfortable for the ani. First, Yud, and then Hey. First, we have to initiate. We have to reach out. We have to call. Is there anything that I could do? Is there anyone that you know needs help? Could I do something for you? Yud Hey, and then Vav Hey. Don't backwards. Don't make it be that they call you first, because then God's name is all mixed up. And this is what Rashi says. Veikoli terumah. Let them take a donation. But li, lishmi, says Rashi, make sure you do it the way my name is written. Lishmi, following the order of Yud, and then Hey, and then Vav, and then Hey. This is amazing, amazing idea. Okay, we move forward. Let's move forward and learn another lesson from the Mishkan. We know that one of the vessels, the main vessel, I don't know if we can say that, but one of the main vessels was the Aron. What's the Aron? The ark that housed the tablets, that housed the Torah. The Aron represented the Torah. So we had the Aron, Keneged the Torah. And then you had all the other vessels outside of the Holy of Holies. You had the Mizbeach, you had the Shulchan, you had the Menorah. What's very interesting to note, our rabbis point out, is that all of the vessels were written singular. Ve'asita. Ve'asita, you shall make. You shall make. All of a sudden, when it comes to the making of the Aron, it's written. Anyone know how it's written? Not ve'asita, but ve'asu. Ve'asu means plural. Make for me. You make for me. In English, I use the same word, make or make. Whether I'm talking to one person, hey, can you make me a chair? Or if I'm talking to a bunch of people, hey, can you make me a chair? In Hebrew, it's two different words. Like in Spanish, there's, French. There's singular. If you're talking to one person, you use quieres. Or if you're talking to a bunch of people, quieren, or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a professional, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay? So in Hebrew, it's ve'asita, singular, and then ve'asu, plural. So when it comes to the menorah, when it comes to the mizbeach, when it comes to the shulchan, God says to Moshe, you shall make in singular, ve'asita, ve'asita, ve'asita. But when it comes to the Aron, ve'asu, Aron, they shall make. What is going on? Why is it ve'asu? I saw an amazing answer. I want to share actually with you two answers. One from a sefer called Korban He'ani. And take a look at what this rabbi has to say. He wants to say that the Aron represents, like we said, the Torah. And he ties it back actually to something that we mentioned yesterday. There are three crowns. There's the crown of Kehuna, the crown of Malchut, and the crown of Torah. These are three areas of Jewish life that we have to give honor to. We give honor to the king. We give honor to Kohanim. We give honor to the Torah. Now, a Kohen is something that is, we don't earn Kehuna. We're born a Kohen or we're not. That's it. The Kohen, any Kohen in this room? Right? Sorry to say, you didn't do anything special to become a Kohen. Okay? You got lucky. Okay? You just got lucky. Okay? Your luck. A king, also, not everyone can become a king. The king is limited. Who could become a king? You have to be from David HaMelech. As hard as I try, if I'm not a David HaMelech descendant, I cannot be a king. So king, Kohen, They're limited to individuals. But the Keter Torah, the crown of Torah, is munach, is there. Anyone that wants could come and take it. There is nobody that can say, Torah is not for me. There's nobody that can say, I am blocked and limited from being able to learn or receive Torah. There's no such sentence. There's no such thing as, I can't learn because I'm X, Y, or Z. No such thing. You can't say, oh, I was born a Levi, I can't learn. I was born a Yisrael, I can't. I was born a Kohen. I'm not born to this family. No such thing. The Keter Torah is munach. Anyone that wants can come and grab and take and enjoy of it. Doesn't matter how wealthy a person is. Doesn't matter how poor a person is. Every single person, I want to read to you something from the Rambam. B'ezrat Hashem, I can find it quickly. But look what the Rambam wants to say. The Rambam says, at the end of the laws of Shemitah and Yovel, this is remarkable. Look at what he says. He's speaking about giving out the land of Israel. So he says, Lama lo zacha Levi benahalat Israel. Why didn't Levi receive a portion in Israel? I don't know if you knew that. There was a piece of land for Reuven, Shimon, Yehuda. Everyone got land. Levi, no land. Levi scattered. There's a tiny city here, a tiny city there, a tiny city there. But Levi didn't have a portion. Why? Uvdal, says the Rambam, because he is singled out La'avod et Hashem leshareto, to serve the Lord and minister to Him. Ulhorot erachav, to teach His ways. Haisharim, that are just. Umishpatav atzadikim, and the just laws. Lerabim, to the many Jews, to the many people. Levi's job was to teach, to educate. Levi were the rabbis. Like it says, Yoru mishpatecha leYaakov. It says this in Devarim. Moshe says to the tribe of Levi, you will teach the laws to Jacob. Lefichach, and therefore, huvdelu b'darkei ha'olam. Levi is separated from the worldly affairs. We know Levi, lo orchin milchama. They're not drafted for battle. Kish'ar Yisrael. Velo nohalin. They do not inherit. Velo zochin le'atzman. They don't have, they cannot acquire with their physical ability. Elahem chel Hashem, because they are God's army. Levi, they're exempt from taxes. They're exempt. They're clergy. Even clergy today, they get exemptions. Okay? So, Levi, they didn't get land. They didn't fight wars. They didn't pay taxes. Why? Because they are Hashem's portion. And when you fight for God, you're exempt from other battles. But look what the Rambam then says. Velo shevet Levi bilvad. But this is not only the tribe of Levi. Ela kol ish ve'ish. Every single person. Mikol ba'ei ha'olam. From the world. Asher nedavar rucho, whose spirit moves him. Vehevino mada'o, and informed him. Le'ibadel, to separate himself. La'amod of Hashem, and to devote themselves to service of Hashem. Leshareto, to know God. Ulovdo, and to work for Him. Le'da'at Hashem, ve'halach yashar, and to walk straight. Kemoshe asahu Elohim. Anyone, not only Levi, any one of us right now, any one of you, that wants to parak me'al tzavaro, to cast off of their necks the yoke asher cheshbonot harabim asher bikshu b'nei adam, the yoke of many a cunning wile that men contrived. Okay, fancy words here. Hareze nitkadesh kodesh kodashim. This person is holy. V'yeh Hashem chelko v'nachalato, and the Lord will be his portion. Le'olam u'olmei olamim. V'yizkei lo ba'olam hazeh davar hamaspik lo, and he'll have whatever his needs are sufficient. God will take care of him, just like the Kohanim and the Leviim. Rambam here is writing something very strong. The Rambam says, if a person wants, and they want to be part of the Keter Torah, you have the right. Torah is not limited to anyone. Torah is for everybody. There's no one that has a monopoly on the Torah. That's why, by the way, to teach Torah, one's not allowed to charge. Not allowed to charge. Because Torah belongs to everyone. Torah is free for all. Torah is something that everybody has a right to. If somebody comes to you and says, I want to learn Torah and they can't afford it, you're obligated to teach it to them for free. Because Torah is everybody's lot. Kohen is limited. A king is limited. But the Torah, the Aron, is for everybody. And therefore the Torah says, Ve'asu Aron atzei shitim. What does that mean? They shall make, in plural, the Torah, the Aron. Because the Aron is for everybody. It's for all of Am Yisrael. There is no Jew that has more of a right to the Torah than any other Jew. And therefore it's something that we have to realize. If we're not learning, if we don't know Torah, if we don't know Gemara, if we don't know Mishnah, if we don't know enough, there's only one person to blame, ourselves. There's no one that we can blame. If you're not a king, so you can blame God that He didn't make you a king. You can blame God that you're not born a Kohen. You can't blame God if you're not a scholar. If you don't know Torah, it's your fault. Because Torah is up to us. Torah, every single one of us has a portion into the crown. The Keter Torah munach ve'omed. The crown of Torah is there waiting. Kol haba rotzeh litol. Whoever wants, yabo ve'yitol. Whoever wants to take, come and take it. Come out and get me. The Torah is for everybody. So this is a very powerful, again, reminder when it comes to the Keter Torah, to the Aron. And that's why, let's go back to our question. Why are all the vessels written in singular and the Aron is written in plural? Because the Mizbeach, that's for the Kohen. All the individuals merit to be Kohen. The Menorah, the Shulchan, not everyone zocheh. Not everyone zocheh to Shulchan, money. Not everyone zocheh to money. Some people are very smart. No matter how hard they try, they don't make money. Sometimes money is mazal. It's what we're born into. We have to be lucky to make money. You know, rich people need to remember that the money is not something that they did to acquire it that makes them, they're not smarter than other people. A lot of times it's mazal. It's luck. But Torah is anyone who wants it, come and take it. And that's why the Aron is written, the Torah, which is the Aron, is written in plural. Ve'asu Aron atzei shitim. Amazing. Okay. Just one more lesson, Rabotai. One more lesson before we close for today. Again, we're trying to learn from the vessels of how to become ourselves a mikdash. What can we do so that we ourselves are v'chen ta'asu. Make yourself into a Beit HaMikdash. I want to share with you such a powerful idea over here. One last idea. Let's go for a minute to the Shulchan. We all know what the Shulchan was? The Shulchan was the table. What was significant about the table? The Shulchan represents money, parnasa. In it were 12 loaves of bread. And what were the 12 loaves of bread called? Anyone know? They were called lechem hapanim. The bread of face. That's what it means. Why was it called that? Bread of face. It's an interesting way to call. You have baguettes. You have different types of breads, but a face bread. What does that mean, face bread? So watch this. The shape of the bread that was in the Aron. Anyone know what it looked like? I'm gonna draw it. I'm gonna try to draw it out. It was like a U. Okay? Try to draw a U. Imagine making bread. Okay, I'm not the best artist. This is the shape of the bread. Okay? It was like a U. 3D U. Okay, I don't know if you ever bought a bread like this. Okay? I never saw one. But this is the bread that existed in the lechem hapanim, and they would put 12 of these, 12 pieces of bread into the shulchan, into the table. And the question obviously is, what kind of shape is that? A U-shaped bread. Why does the bread need to be in the shape of a U? And I saw something so beautiful. Take a look, Rabbi. You know, the shulchan, which represents money, represents the mitzvah of tzedakah. Okay, and tzedakah is something that we're going to talk about a lot this week, next week, for the next few weeks, because these parashiyot deal mainly with a lot of the charity that was given towards the temple. Unfortunately, a lot of times, a person is blessed with tzedakah. Okay, sometimes you have a person that's blessed with money, but they're very, insensitive to the needs of other people. Sometimes, there's a story that there was one guy, he was criticizing. He said to his rabbi, look at all these people. They have so much money and they don't give 10% to tzedakah. If all the rich people gave, there would be no poor people in our town. Okay. Anyways, the rabbi didn't say anything. Eventually, this student that made that remark had a change of fortune and he became one of the wealthiest guys in the community. And all of a sudden, this guy himself, who just a few months ago was mocking and ridiculing all of the rich people that don't give, he became wealthy, and guess what happened? He himself didn't give. A lot of times, the money that we have could desensitize us to the needs of the people around us. It's very easy to relate to the poor person when we are poor. It's very easy to relate to the people that need when we need. But all of a sudden, when a person has, success could prevent a person from seeing the needs of the poor people. There's a beautiful story of one time, there was a wealthy man who invited the rabbi to his house. And the rabbi was going through the house with this student of his. And this student, again, was very lax in giving tzedakah. He didn't give a lot. And the rabbi is walking around and he's touring through the house of this student of his. And finally, the rabbi says, do you mind showing me your upstairs? He says, sure. They start walking through the upstairs and they get to a window. The rabbi says, what do you see? And the student looks outside the window and he says, well, I see all the people of the community. I see the poor people of the town. I see the people that are gathering to sell the produce and people that are trying to collect tzedakah. Okay. They continue on their tour of this guy's mansion. Then they get to a huge mirror. And then the rabbi says to the wealthy guy, tell me, what do you see? And the wealthy guy looks at the mirror and he says, I see myself. And the rabbi says, I don't understand. Why before, piece of glass, you saw other people? And here, same piece of glass, and all you see is yourself. What's the difference between that glass and this glass? And he says, very simple, Rabbi. That was a clear piece of glass. This is a piece of glass with a little bit of silver lining behind it. The rabbi looks at his student and he says, look what a little silver can do. A little silver can change a person from being able to see outside into the world to being able only to see into themselves. The student, of course, understood the message. But this is sometimes something that we have to remember. When we become wealthy, when we become successful, not to chas v'shalom, all of a sudden allow that silver, allow that gold, allow that money to prevent us from seeing the needs of the people around us. The Torah tells us that the bread in the shulchan was in a U shape. A normal loaf of bread, a normal piece of bread is a solid, it's round, it's a whole loaf. But the problem is you can't see through that. You look at the bread, you can't see through it. The lechem hapanim, when you look through one side, you are able to see all the way to the other side. The Torah is reminding us that the bread that we have in our lives, the money that we have in our lives, the success that we have, shouldn't block our vision from being able to see through to other people. In a way, the Torah wants that our money should be like the U-shaped lechem hapanim. Have money. Enjoy money. But make sure you could see through it. Make sure you could see straight to the other side. Don't allow it to feel insensitive, to forget about the world out there. We have to remember that the money that we have, Hashem gave us, it's not our money. The money that God gave us is a loan. We are a middleman to give it out to other people. And God says, 90% you could keep. 80% you could keep. But ma'aseh, 10%. The 20%, you have to give out to other people. It's not yours to even think about not giving it out. Imagine I gave you $1,000 and I said, please give it out to Aniyim for Purim. And you hold on to 900 of it. You hold on to 100 of it and you give out 900. What would you call that guy? Wow, so righteous. Look how much he's giving out. The guy's a thief. You're a thief. You're not giving 10%. That's not your money to give, to even think of holding on to. So a person has to ask themselves, am I giving my ma'aser? Am I giving the money that belongs to other people? It's not my money. And by the way, a lot of times we begin in our careers and we give ma'aser, we give 10%. But then, as our business and our careers grow, our tzedakah of 10% remains the same of what we were making when we were still starting off. A person starting off, their 10% was $1,000. Now they're making $1 million, and they're still only giving 1,000. Where's the math on that? The 10% has to grow as our income grows. If we're making more, if Hashem is giving us more, we have to make sure that we keep giving more. We have to make sure that we're doing 10% relative to what we're making. The tzedakah that we gave a year ago can't be the same tzedakah that we're giving today. Today Hashem gave us more. Today we're making more. We have to give more. We have to do more. If Hashem gives us, we have to give others. We have to make sure that we're not being blinded by our silver. We're not being blinded by our parnasah. It's so easy sometimes to forget when we're making so much. It's my wealth. I amassed it. I worked hard to do it. Now I got to give my money. It's hard to think like that, right? But we have to remember it's not our money. Hashem gave it to us. We are a middleman. It's chas v'shalom when a person is not observing the laws of ma'aser that they're supposed to be doing. So God realizes He can't trust that person to be the middleman. Chas v'shalom, sometimes God will choose to decide to pick somebody else to give the wealth to. So we have to be very careful in making sure that we're not blinded to the needs of others. So this is one final lesson for today. Again, so many lessons that we can learn from the Aron, from the Mishkan, from the vessels. All of them ultimately point into the direction of remembering Ve'asuli mikdash v'shachanti betocham. The goal is not for God to dwell in the building. The goal is that God should dwell in every single one of us. The goal is that God should reside amongst us. We have to make ourselves into a vessel that Hashem would be comfortable dwelling in. We have to learn from the Aron. We have to learn from the Shulchan. We have to learn from all of these vessels, asking ourselves, am I learning enough Torah? Am I giving enough tzedakah? Am I making sure to preserve the dignity of the Aniyim? Am I remembering the order? Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. Am I giving tzedakah the right way? Am I defending the dignity of those that need? Anyways, these are many lessons Hashem should help all of us internalize, learn from the Mishkan, Vechen ta'asu, and then we will apply it into ourselves and we'll be zocheh to the greatest gift of V'shachanti betocham. We'll stop over here, everybody. Chodesh Tov, God willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.